join the 28-hour SQL Server Masterclass on the Udemy platform for only $15 instead of $89. Learn how to become a future developer or either a future DBA or performance expert on SQL Server with 150 exercises. The link to the promotion is in the video description. Okay? Want to get started on SQL Server? Then join me. Consolidate the index on your table. It's not uncommon to see this type of indexing in many tables. In this table, for example, we will have, for example, an index on the last name column. Where we made a select with where on the predicate last name. Okay, so we are going to have another index on the last name, first name, and middle initial. Another index on last name, first name, include the form, and the same in another index, but with the include SSN. Okay, you can often see large tables that have columns that are reflected across multiple indexes. Here, for example, the last name column appears in 4 indexes. Okay, so do we really need to put the last name column 4 times in 4 different indexes? Same for the first name. Do you really need to put it 3 times? So we will see. Before there is an implementation to do, you have to download 2 scripts. Of course, these 2 scripts is attached in the course. Setup 1 SQL and the setup 2 script. Okay, don't forget these 2 scripts are attached in this course. So let's run these 2 scripts. Okay, and it's 2 storage procedures that allows you to see our indexes in detail. Okay, so we will consolidate our indexes to avoid redundant columns, which will take up space on the page storage, take time on the index reload, and so on. Okay, we can assume that an index has this type: last name, first name, middle initial, include, form, and SSN. Could be quite good. So let's restore again our fantastic database. Use master. Let's restore again, and we will use it and create our famous redundant indexes. Okay, first index on the last name, second index on the last name, first name, and middle initial, third index with last name, first name, include phone, and the last index the same as the third, except the include is going to be on the SSN column. Okay, so let's run these 4 indexes, and we will see the indexes in detail using the script you ran before. For the storage procedure, SQL skills help index. So let's go. So all indexes are enabled, and we can see that we have a primary key. Okay, for the cluster index, which is on the primary key. Okay, here we see all the indexes we created with 2 include column. Okay, and we can see that last name is on the 4 indexes. Same thing for the first name, 3 times. Okay? So let's execute enable statistic on and include execution plan. And we replace several queries, and we will see that these indexes are called differently depending on each query. Okay? Remember that in some cases you cannot cover the entire query. Since we are doing the select star, some query will use a bookmark lookup because the index does not take all the coverage of the query. So we run the first query and we will see at the level of the execution plan, it's the index employee name is used. Okay, second query we will add the middle name in the predicate. Okay, let's run the query and we will see again that it's the same index, employee name, which is used. Third query, we are going to change the request. As you can see, these are similar queries. We don't have a big difference between the queries, but we see that each time we have the different index. So in this query, we had 3 columns: last name, first name, and form. Okay, let's run, and you can see that in this case, it's the employee include phone index which is used. Okay, so this is the index with the include phone. Last request, we will work with this query by adding the SSN column and looking in detail at the execution plan. We see that is the index SSN which is used. Okay, so in conclusion, we note that in all these queries there are a lot of similarities, okay, and that for X reasons these indexes were created by X person. Okay, it can be a DBA, a developer, a tech lead, and so on. So maybe it's some persons who had access to that database and created these indexes on your database. Okay, and the question is how much storage will use these indexes. So let's run the storage procedure, system storage procedure, sp space use with the name, the database name, and the table. Okay. So it's not a good database, and you can see that the index size is 40 megabytes. Okay. So let's analyze the index on the table again. So we have these indexes with the last name 4 times, the first name 3 times, and logically we are going to go for an index which will take the last name, first name, and which is called 3 times, and middle initial, and an include on these 2 columns, phone and SSN. Okay, here's the logic to avoid this redundancy. So we will create an index name server tuning x. Okay, so we create this index which will take the 3 columns: last name, first name, and middle initial, include with the phone and SSN. Okay, do you understand the logic? The index is created, and don't forget, never forget this very good practice: never delete the indexes before having done the test. Okay, there can be deactivated with the disable option. Okay, we deactivate them. It's good. And if we do SQL scarce, we see that the result gives disabled indexes. Okay, with 1, except server tuning x we just created before. So we replay our famous request. So which index is used for the first one? Okay, it's good. It's our indexes server tuning x. For the second and third request, to gain time, we can see that it's the server tuning which is used for the second request, and server tuning again for the third request. Okay, so we can see that our index is good for the moment, and we replay the last request and again the same index, server tuning. But what about the storage? Exit space use. So we change the database, space use, and now index size is 15 megabytes instead 41 megabytes. Okay, so don't forget that it's a small table. So if it was a huge table with a lot of indexes, a lot of columns, a lot of rows, the space saved would be huge. Okay, so you have to test the consolidation of few indexes all the time, and you will see that it's worth it. Okay, so let's go to the next demonstration.